Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're up in the garden today and we're getting ready to do some warm season crop planting, namely our peppers and tomatoes. So I've come up here to help Gabrielle get our trellising established this year for the tomatoes and peppers. Now we're switching up a little bit this year with the tomato trellising. The first year we had the garden, we did Florida weave, and that didn't go very well for us. And then we switched to kind of a flat row of cattle panels last year, and it went well, with the one exception of we have indeterminate tomato plants, and once they reach the top of the cattle panel trellising, they just started to kind of fall over. So what we're going to do this year is we're actually going to grow tomatoes on our arch cattle panel trellises that we typically use for cucumbers and peas and stuff like that. So we're going to be putting those up today. Then we got to get another flat row of trellising up for the peppers. We also have some irrigation to fix, so we're going to show you what's going on there. And then we're going to give you a little update on our spring cool weather crops. This row right here that you see is all bare. She's leveled out, and that's actually going to be for the peppers. So we're going to be putting trellising in that today. And then these two rows right here, this is actually where the arch trellis for the tomatoes is going to go from one row to the other. So let's go ahead, let's start setting up for the tomatoes first, and then we'll do the trellising for our peppers. What are you doing with the sunflowers in this row?
Sunflowers and borage, and there's a marigold coming up too.
You got stuff coming up everywhere.
Yeah, and I can't bring myself to kill the flowers, so some of them I've just been transplanting to other spots in the garden. So if I need to do that, I can, but I won't cry if you step on some of them while we're doing this.
All right, so let's go ahead, let's start getting this trellising put up, and then like I said, we'll move on to the peppers. Alrighty, so back here we have our pile of cattle panels, and we already have some formed ones for the arches right behind here. So without squishing our toes, we need to pull these arches out.
The exact one.
You want it right there?
Sure. It's gonna look really cool with the tomatoes growing up in it. And I don't have to worry about them flopping over when they get too tall.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
I got your seal of approval?
I think it's gonna be good, and then if there's weight on it, it's just gonna be pushing out to the T-post.
So I think with these, all I'm gonna do is just put one in the center, because these are gonna be bound together.
Yep.
So they'll all hold each other, so I'll just put one T-post in the center right here. Okay. Let's do one right here. I don't understand why these always twist clockwise every time. And do they twist counterclockwise if I'm below the equator?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know. One-legged post pounding. Get more room down at this end. Not the one who's on the center of the row.
This is gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be pretty cool once everything goes over the top of it. Haha, fake out. Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, we got it.
Okay. You wanna hold it up and I'll pound in the first T-post? You only got 4 T-posts.
No, I got 5. Didn't make the face.
I did on the first one.
And I missed it.
Nope,
And I
you were
was
looking
all
away.
prepared this time.
I was all prepared. Right there?
Good height, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you're the boss.
So,
Who?
why you say who? Huh?
I don't know.
You want me to hold that end?
Nope, I got it. It's sitting on the, what do you call them? Nodules?
Nubs.
Nubs.
I want to eat that lettuce. Maybe I'm hungry. I'm just holding this still, staring at the lettuce like, lettuce.
It's the food my food eats.
I'm gonna plant so much this week. Oh. Sorry. I'm so excited. This is my favorite time of year. I'm gonna plant a lot. And now I can just go for it. There's nothing holding me back.
You go for it. All right, so we got all the tomato trellising put up. This comes out to be about 25 feet of trellising, and we've shown how we attach these to T-posts before. We are just using these T-post clips. I'm just using one on each T-post, so the bottom is a little loose. As you saw, we went through and bound all the cattle panels together. Now, if this becomes a problem, like this gets a little floppy or whatever, we can come through and put another T-post clip on there. I don't think it's going to, since all the tomato plants are going to help anchor all this stuff down. So 25 feet of tomato trellising. Our rows are 34 feet long, which gives us about 4.5 feet of herb or flower space on the end of each row. And it kind of makes it easier to walk around the garden too. So I kind of like that. So tomato trellising is all done, all complete, ready to be planted.
Now that we got our tomato tunnel set up and our trellising for the peppers, I get to plant tomatoes and peppers this week. I have already planted corn, and the other day I planted cucumbers and radishes, so we can show you some footage of that. Well, it looks like my peas and my lettuce and the merlot and spinach have really enjoyed all the rain we've gotten. And I got a small break in the rain, so I'm gonna hurry up and take my chance while I can and plant cucumbers. So I have Burpless Supreme cucumber, which is just a slicing cucumber for salads and such. And then Max Pack cucumber, which is an excellent pickling cucumber that I've used for, I think, 2 years now from Haas Tools. I really like this one. I've had great germination rate and an excellent harvest every time I've planted it. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant both of those on this half of the trellis so they can climb up that. And then at the base of them along the front, like I did with the lettuce, I'm gonna plant radish, and these are champion radish. So these are the Burpless Supreme cucumbers. They're a slicing cucumber, and I'm gonna plant them here 12 inches apart and 1/2 inch deep. And because the germination rate on these is really high, it's 96%, I'm not planting any more than 1 or 2 seeds in a spot. Haas Tools seems to have really good germination rate on most of their stuff, and they'll tell you what it is. That way, if you know that it's not that great of germination rate for that seed, you don't have to worry about overplanting. You can put like 3 or 4 seeds in there just because you already know, and they'll give you extra sometimes too. So if it's not a good germination rate, they'll give you extra. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and plant my radishes in front of the cucumbers. These are champion radish, and radishes are an excellent companion plant for cucumbers. They help repel the cucumber beetle. The only thing that you have to remember is that radishes are a cool season crop and they mature very quickly. So these will be ready to harvest in about 25-30 days, and the cucumbers will still be steadily growing. So you can replant or plant something else, which is what I think I'm going to be doing, but I haven't decided what I'm going to plant it yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to plant yet. So. And as for today, why don't I show you what we have going on with our cool season crops so far. These strawberries are so close to being ripe. There's quite a few that are red and starting to turn pink, and there's a million flowers and unripened strawberries on them too. So we're definitely going to have plenty to sell at the farm stand this year. I actually started with just 1 row, and I've been slowly taking the runners and the baby plants off of these ones and expanding into this row. So eventually I'll have 2 full rows of strawberries, and I'm sure that will be plenty. These are the garlic that I planted from garlic cloves that I had planted last year. So they're doing very well. They've overwintered very well. And then down here I have the white onions and the yellow onions. Under this row cover, we have our green magic broccoli. We've grown this broccoli for the last couple years and it's done really well for us. And then this is a half a row of the Detroit dark red beets. And they both seem to be doing very well, and the row covers are doing their job keeping the flea beetles away so far. In this row, we have our snap peas and some lettuce. This is the Capitan lettuce in front. And then this Merlot is that dark red lettuce. And there's a little bit of spinach in there too. And this is the row that I planted the cucumbers and radishes in. Over here are our potatoes. So this is a Kennebec white potato and then a russet potato over here. And they've grown so fast so far. They seem to be doing really good. I've started planting carrots already, so I am trying to do some succession planting. So in between the carrots, I'm going to have bush beans. And then I have another row behind that one where I'm going to plant more carrots and more bush beans next week. In this row is the red onions, and I had planned to companion plant the summer squash and zucchini in this row. So I'm going to be planting those very soon. Last time you were in the garden, I was expanding the corn bed, and so now it is doubled, it's huge. And I've added compost and leveled it all out and planted it. But we started expanding our drip irrigation, and we came across a few issues that we thought you might be interested in.
When we set up the drip irrigation, we used all of these 1/2-inch fittings from dripdepot.com. And I'm not saying that Drip Depot is at fault here, but whoever makes these fittings right here for drip irrigation, which naturally is going to be outside, these things right here are not holding up. So we're having a lot of these crack and dry rot and split apart. So what we're doing this year is we're actually replacing them with these style fittings right here. These are from a company called Blue Twister. We picked these up at Lowe's. And there's a couple of reasons why I want to try these out. The first being the ease of installation. So this is a 1/2-inch tube right here, and you can see on the fitting, it's got threads on it. So with these right here, they got nice little wings and threads, and you can basically just twist this right into place. And then you use these little crimp clamps right here to secure it rather than the worm clamp. So it makes installation much faster and easier with less tools. The other reason I like using these is you can see how thick the plastic is on these. My only concern is I don't know if these are actually UV resistant or not. So we'll consider this basically just a test at this point. The other thing I want to test outside in UV exposure is these valves right here. So this is actually a shark bite valve. And I basically just picked this up because I didn't want to go ahead and order a whole nother big bag of the drip irrigation valves. So we picked a couple of these up and we'll see how long that they last. This right here is the tool that you need to install the clamps, and again, I just call this like an Oetiker clamp. I've used these extensively in my previous job. We use them on solvent lines, water lines, air lines, and they're pretty easy to install. All you need is just a little bit of firm pressure on this crimp clamp right there, and it's pretty forgiving. So even if you don't get it quite as tight as the next person, they do work really well and they seal up pretty good.
All right, well, that's going to be all for today, but we're going to try and do a new garden tour each month so you can stay up to date with what's growing in the garden. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. It really helps us out. But until next time, have a great day.